Hello everyone, welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I am broadcasting to you from Budapest, the capital city of beautiful Hungary, situated in the Carpathian Basin. Hi Parth, hi Aigul, welcome members, hi everyone else who's joining in, hi Pachu, hi Khyber, hi Shiza Khan. Today, ladies and gentlemen, focuses on IELTS Task 1 line graph. We'll discuss a bit about vocabulary, sentence structure, and a effective Band 9 response to this line graph. The materials, they come from our websites for academic IELTS. Check us out at aehelp.com, where we have a fully interactive course with strategies, over 100 hours of video lessons, over 50 hours of HD video, and 6 original practice exams. Same thing for GIELTS, except of course the writing and reading are targeting general IELTS. For that, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Just show you those websites real quick as we get going here. This is our academic IELTS website. Click that big red button to join, then you get a My Student account. In your My Student account, you have lots and lots of fantastic drop-down menus, interactive practice tests, full online course. There's a tour that just popped up for the website. And for general IELTS, go to this one here, click that big red button, and join us there. All right, let's get back on point. For our exam books, you can also get those on Amazon. Search for AE Helps Academic IELTS or GE Helps General IELTS. And if you have questions for me, just write me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. These live classes are Central European Time, CET, 15 to 16 o'clock. Today, we're doing Task 1 graphs. Tomorrow, bit of listening practice. Then we'll do a members chat on Saturday. Members have special perks. One of them, they get to request classes. They get access to our 6 practice exams, and they get access to exclusive videos. And we have some more joining in. Hi Rahul, hi Harminder, hi Kisi, hi Begzad. A big hello to some more of our members. Welcome to the class. Okay, students, let's get right to it. The question for today, IELTS Writing Task 1. Let's read it together. You should spend about 40 minutes, or 40. No, don't spend 40 on Task 1, 20. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Only spend 20 minutes on this task because it is worth 1/3 of your total writing mark. So don't spend more than 1/3 of the time on this task. The following graph shows the past, present, and future numbers of 3 types of animals in an American state. Identify the main points and make comparisons and contrasts where relevant. Write at least 150 words. Let's take a look at this line graph. Here it is. All right. Hopefully everybody can see that quite clearly. Okay, the blue line here, it's bears. The red line, it's dolphins. And the gray line, it's whales, okay? So bears, whales, dolphins, all right? Wildlife population in California, in hundreds, 0, 20, 40, all the way to 200. The years are 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. All right. So that is our line graph for the day. Hi, Marwa. Can everybody see the line graph clearly, more or less? Maybe other than the names of the animals. Can everybody see the lines? Can you see the XY axis? If not, let me know. I can change the brightness around a little bit if it's too bright. All right. Let me know. Talk to me. Type to me. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Begzad. All right. Perfect. So what's our first step here, students? What's the first step that we should focus on? What is step number 1? Step number 1. We've looked at the question. We've looked at the graph. What should we do? Maybe a little bit darker, says Ellie. Yeah, I'll do a little darker. How about that? Is that a little bit better? I get to be a little bit darker too, but maybe the graph's more clear that way. All right. So Aman says introduction. Punka says introduction. Iqbal says some paraphrasing. Sarisha, welcome. I think you're a new member. Make sure to send me an email. New members, send me an email so I can hook you up with perks, okay? So Sarisha and Parth agree that paraphrasing the question should be the first step, and Preeti gets the first gold star of today. Preeti says, paraphrase the question with some information. Begzod agrees. Overview with details. Absolutely, right? So paraphrase with details. Let's go back to that original question. Here it is. So let's paraphrase that with details. That's your step number 1, okay? And thank you, students, for remembering the second important part of that first step, which is giving details, okay? So step 1, paraphrase the question with details. This is your overview. Okay, the overview is the introduction. Okay, sometimes students are confused. They think overview and introduction are two different parts, but no, it's the same. Okay, so overview, introduction. All right, so paraphrase the question here and give me some details. Students, do your best. I'm going to do the same. Okay. All right, here we go. So I'll put the graph up in just a second here so you can look at it again. So this line graph, okay, right away, the questions usually just say graph. Name the type of graph that you're looking at. We're looking at a line graph here depicting the populations of bears, dolphins, and whales. Okay, so right away tell your reader that this is a line graph. It's not just any old graph. It is a line graph. All right. So this line graph know lots of synonyms for the word shows. Okay, indicates, depicts, illustrates, represent. Those are just some. There's lots. All right, keep those in mind. We'll build our vocabulary bank. I'm going to start our vocabulary bank right up here at the top. We'll keep adding to it. Okay. Definitely you want to remember this. Don't worry if you don't panic. This video will be up on the channel so you can go back and check the vocabulary bank after as well. Okay, so this is our vocabulary bank that we are building here. So first word that we're building for is the word show. Different ways to say show. If you got some, let me know. I'll put them up here. Depict, illustrate, represent, indicate. Okay. Reveal, sure. It's a good one. Thank you, Aman. Okay, displays, Pachu is good as well. Thank you. Display or displays. Yep, got that one. All right. Good. So that's for show. Let's keep going with that paraphrase. So if you're working on your paraphrase, threat not. I'm also working on it here. So the following graph, so mine says this line graph, illustrates the previous, current, and future populations of, so here it says 3 types of animals. So again, instead of saying 3 types of animals or 3 kinds of mammals, might be a good paraphrase, name what they are. Okay, so we're talking about bears, dolphins, and whales. So populations of 3 kinds of mammals, bears, dolphins, and whales. And then here it says, in an American state, in the state of California. Notice that when you're writing state of, the S is capital as well. So the state of California, okay, that's what it says. And then we just stop there for now. Okay, I see that some other students have put up paraphrased beginnings to this overview as well, which is great. Saeed Owaso says, this line graph illustrates the populations of bears, whales, and dolphins in California during a period. Nice, so you're giving me the time frame, which is great. During a period between 2017 and 2022. Very good. I like how you were specific there, Saeed, with the years. Fantastic. Aigul says this line graph illustrates the number of bears, dolphins, and whales since 2017 until 2022 in the state of California. Good, Aigul. Capitalize that S, okay? State of, big S. All right, good though. Kesey says, the given line graph represents the population of bears, Kesey, not beers, the population of bears, dolphins, and whales from 2017 to 2022 in the state of California. Very good. I like how you gave the date as well. And then Harminder says, the line graph depicts 3 types of animals, bears, whales, and dolphins. You don't need to say Harminder named. That's just kind of awkward and wordy. You don't need it. So the line graph depicts 3 types of animals, comma, bears, whales, and dolphins in California from 2017 to 2022. That's the correct way, Harminder. Okay. Let's keep going here. If I missed yours, don't worry, especially members. I saw Begzod's and Raul's. Those are some good paraphrases as well. Marwa, yours is good as well. I'll get you on the next one. All right, so now I might, because I didn't include the date, so some of your fellow students said it's from 2017 to 2022. Here, you can see the y-axis. Okay, this is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. When you have a line graph, it's okay for the overview to include a mention of the y and the x-axis. Okay, that's how I'm going to mention that information. So rather than putting it into the first sentence, I'll put it into my next one and just explain the x and y axis. Okay, and this is how I'm going to do it. You can do it as well, all right? Just write with me. So the x-axis indicates the years from 2017 to 2022, as where the y-axis indicates the number of animals from 0 to, okay, so here it says 200, but here we have hundreds. So this is 200 times 100, which is 20,000, okay? Now, these are just fictitious numbers. They're just made up, but I don't want to say 200 because that's incorrect, so I have to do a little bit of math here. 200 times 100 is 20,000. Nak-an, x-axis is this line here. It's your horizontal line, and your y-axis is your vertical line, okay, for students who are not familiar with that. Okay, this is the y-axis. By the way, students, plural is axes. Okay, here we just have one, and this is your x-axis. All right, keep that in mind. All right, so 20,000, 0 to 20,000, with intervals of 2,000, right? Nope. Here we go. From 0 to 20,000 with intervals of 2,000. You can write the number as well, of course. So again, these are called intervals. Okay, this is an interval here. Another interval, another interval. So the distance in these intervals, these are 2,000 apiece, right? So 0, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, going up, up, and up. Okay. Begzod says, when looking at the y-axis, it becomes clear that the number of population of these animals is given between 0 and 200 in hundreds. That's okay, Begzod, maybe a little bit overly complex. Translate that into your own words. So 0 to 20,000 is a little bit clearer, okay, than if you say 200 in hundreds. While the x-axis illustrates the years from 2017 to 2022. Don't add expected. Yeah, Begzod, it's not important, okay? Preeti says the nominal data of the x-axis shows the years from 2010 to 2022. Preeti, in this case, that's not nominal data. It is interval data. So here we have interval data and interval data. This is not names, okay? The nominal data are the lines themselves, but the axis, the years, this variable is actually interval data. So careful with information mistakes, Preeti, okay? All right, if those are some new words, that's okay, that's fine. Don't worry, we'll get going here. All right, now we can do one more sentence for the overview. So one more. Let's get one more sentence into the overview. What is that? What sentence should we add to the overview, right? So step one, the overview, it's paraphrasing with details, plus what else should we add to the overview? Our first paragraph here, okay? Should be the main feature, the most apparent main feature that we can see when we look at this graph, right? Baljit says the eye-catching point. Yeah, Baljit, that's a good way to express it. Eye-catching point, okay? Ikab, I already have the name of these mammals in my overview here. Bears, dolphins, whales, right? So, so yeah, you want to add the main, the most obvious feature, okay, or point. Yeah, sure. And that's your overview, okay? So, what is that? So Subodh, yeah, Subodh's asking, do we need an axis explanation? Yeah, it's a good idea for this line graph because it's a little bit confusing with 0, 20, 40, and hundreds. So if you can make that clear for your reader, it's a good idea. Absolutely. It will help you to push your band score higher. So what do we see here? What is the first clear point? While you're thinking of that, I'm going to read Rahul's response. Rahul says the year is represented by the x-axis in intervals of 0 to 20,000. The year is represented by the y-axis, Rahul. Be careful with information mistakes. And the numbers is indicated by y-axis. No. You got your x-y axis mixed up, Rahul. Careful with that. Aigul says the most interesting first point is that bears are on a rise. in the state of California. Yeah, we can see that, but I'd avoid that. I'd keep that IGUL for my body paragraph. Somebody's asking where I'm from. I'm Canadian, West Coast Canada, British Columbia. Begzod says sharp increase in the number of bears as well. Yes, but again, Begzod, just like the same with IGUL, I would keep that more for the analysis, for the body. Okay. Best movies, horizontal means like this. Vertical means like this. Okay, this is a vertical line, horizontal line. All right. Let's add these to our vocabulary bank while you're thinking of what is most obvious. Girls, guys, what is most obvious? Okay, keep it simple. Think big. All right, think big. There's something that's even more obvious than the increase, decrease. Okay, so here we go, adding to our vocabulary bank. Vertical, horizontal, x-axis, or axes for plural, and y-axis. Okay, for students that are not familiar with those words. All right, anybody tell me what's more obvious? Yeah? No? Not so much so far? All right, IGUL's thinking. I like your thinking emoji. What's going on? Well, one thing's for certain, they're very unique, okay? You have one that's got an increase, you have one that's got a decrease, and then you've got one that's got a fluctuation. So the populations of these three animals in the years given are substantially or significantly different, okay, or the change is different. That's the most observable. So when I'm looking at the big picture here, this one's going that way, this one's going that way, and this one's going all over the way. So the most obvious is that they're significantly different, okay? The changes are significantly different. So the best sentence to have here would be, at first glance, it is quite evident that the population change among, not between, because there's three, right? Between is for two, among is for three or more, all right? So here, it's among. So at first glance, it is quite evident that the population change among these three animals is significantly different in the years given. Okay, a little bit of passive voice there as well. So that's my overview. Let's get that down into the next page there for you so it's more clear. Okay, let's about the right length of overview, all right? We're going to get into the rise and the fall and the increase and the decrease and the fluctuation here in just a moment, but that's your body paragraph, okay? That will make up the body of this essay. This is your overview, so bear with me. I really like to be traditional and indent my paragraphs just so they're very clear for the examiners. And so this is what the overview reads as. Follow with me. This line graph illustrates the previous, current, and future populations of three kinds of mammals: bears, dolphins, and whales, in the state of California. The x-axis indicates the years from 2017 to 2022, as where the y-axis indicates the number of animals from 0 to 20,000 with intervals of 2,000. At first glance, it is quite evident that the population change among these three animals is significantly different in the years given. Okay, that's your overview. I've got Shahayatri says 4 to 5 sentences. I've got 1, 2, 3 sentences. Okay, 3 sentences. I think 5 sentences is too long for an overview. Okay. All right, so now comes our analyses. And before we do our analyses, let's talk a little bit of vocabulary. Let's build up our vocabulary bank, okay? Let's add a little bit to it. That will help everybody write some nice, high-quality sentences, all right? So stay with me here, ladies and gents. Okay, let's start with dolphins, this red line here. So this change here, how do you describe that? How do you describe this change? Okay, how do you describe this change? Let's add some vocabulary for this. Okay, how can we do that? What can we say about that? What are some good adjectives to use? It's definitely a decline. What kind of a decline or a decrease is it? Okay, Ijung says it's a drastic fall in the number of dolphins. Sure, so drastic fall is good. Okay, I'm going to build our vocabulary bank here. So continuing on, so we got a drastic fall. Okay, how else can we say that? Dramatic downward trend. Sure, Begzod. Good. Dramatic downward trend. Sure. Okay. Sharp decline. Shiza. Very good. Okay. Sharp decline. Yeah, it's good. Plummet is good. A plummet is almost even steeper. Okay. So, but let's put it up. So plummet, that's good. Sudden decline. Sure. All right. Plunge is okay as well. Yep. You can use that to describe that change. Okay, good. All right. That looks good. Negative trend is okay, Ijung, as well. Rapid negative trend. Substantial dip is a good one as well. I like that one. That was given to us by Sadia. Yeah. Substantial dip. Yeah. Dip in the number of dolphins. Substantial dip in the number of dolphins is a very clever description. And nosedive, Pachu, might be a good one as well, because we're talking about dolphins, and dolphins live in the water. So there's kind of a pun there. It's a double use of words, right? So nosedive, because that's what dolphins do. Dolphins take a nosedive. A dip or a nosedive is a kind of morbid, because it's decreasing number of dolphins, but in some ways it's a funny pun as well. Okay, rapid downfall is good too. Okay, now remember, we are talking about numbers of animals, right? Okay, let's pop back to the graph here. All right, so we've described this part here. How about this? Okay. So how about this? What kinds of words can we use? So here it's dramatic. Here it's what? Okay. So there's basically three variances. Okay. This one, and this one would be the three different variances of the rate of change. Okay. How would you call this one? I wouldn't call this one marginal. I'd call this one marginal. Emin. This is Emin Isayev. This would be a marginal change. This would be more than a marginal. Okay. Begzod says there's a constant. Begzod, yeah, constant's okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure. So we're looking for this one here right now, students. This one in the middle. Okay. Gradual constant is okay. Yeah. So let's add those on a new line in our vocabulary bank. So gradual, constant, steady decrease is good as well. For those of you that just put that up there, you sir. Yeah. Steady. I'm not writing decline or decrease because we have that. We have dip. We have decline. Did I not put decrease up there? No. So let's put decrease in here then. Decrease is the verb, of course, so that would work for any of these, except we're looking more at the adjectives here. So, or sorry, the adverbs. Best movie says moderate. Yeah. Moderate I would add for the next one. Okay. Minimal I would also do for the next one. Okay, so let's get on to the next one, and then if you remember more for the middle one. So this one here would be described by minimal, modest, okay, slight. So minimal, modest, slight. Okay, good. Let's talk a little bit more here, a little bit more on vocabulary. So we've talked about the rapid decline. We've talked about the gradual decline. We've talked about the minimal decline here. You can use those in the opposite, of course, with increase, rise. So let's talk about this one, but all I want is just verbs here. So verbs include words like rise or increase. Any other ones other than rise or increase? Can you think of any more other than just rise and increase when the line is going this way? Okay, and of course you can use mostly the same adverbs for the increase as for the decrease, right? So it can be a constant increase, it can be a gradual increase, a modest increase. Okay. Amiel says upward or growth. Yep, those are some good ones. Yeah. A surge, sure, if it's rapid. Okay. Jump, not so much, because jump would be more for bar graph. Okay. Rocket would be rocket, and soar would be for rapid increase. Sure. All right. Amplify for sound or for certain nouns, Ahmed, yes, but amplify for a lot of different nouns would not work, okay? Climb is a good one. Okay, some good ones coming there. Amplify, not so much. It's a little bit awkward, all right? Ascend is okay. Twaiki. Okay, it's ascending. Boost is okay as well. There's a boost in the number of whales, for example. Sure. All right, some good vocabulary there. A little bit more, and then we'll get into the rest of the essay here. How about this gray line? So notice how this gray line is going like this here. Boom, 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 like that. What are some words for that? Okay, getting into a little bit trickier vocabulary now. So what are words that explain this type of change? Okay, what are words that describe that type of change? Eunice says fluctuation. Yeah. Zigzag is good as well. Okay, so fluctuate, zigzag, sure, are good words. Okay, just a second here. Jumping to this part here. So fluctuate. Zigzag. Okay, zigzag's okay. Fluctuate's better. Up and downs and stable. Yep, there's a couple of words that are better. Sadia, good. Vary or variance. Okay, or other words that are good to know when describing that trend. So vary or variance. Okay, not with an E, but with an A. Okay, those are good words. Not inconsistent. Harsh, Havar, done ready, but inconsistent. Okay? Alternating highs and lows. That would be another interesting one. Wave is a little bit different, so I wouldn't go with that. All right. Yep. Fluctuate, Marwa, absolutely. Unstable is not the best either. All right. What are words? One more. One last one, students, and then we get into writing the sentences, okay? Soon here. So one more. How can we describe these points? So notice this point here. Notice this point here. So how can we describe these points? Okay. What are words we can use to describe when one line crosses with another line like this? So how can we describe those points on the graph? Cross is okay. Intersect, Vikram Kung, yep, that's right, is a good one. So cross, yep, it's a simple one. Intersect is another one. It's an intersection. Yeah. What else? It's a point of intersection. Exceed, surpass are very good words. Yeah. Depending on which way you're analyzing. Exceed, surpass. Okay. Any other ones? Overlap, that's okay. Overtake is okay, yeah. Any other ones? Kohide, I don't know that word, Sunmeet. Maybe. I'd have to check. Okay. It is a junction, but we don't really say that. Meninderjeet, good. Bisect. Yeah, bisect is a good one. All right, nice one. Good one, Meninderjeet. Original. Nobody else got that one. Yeah, bisect. It's kind of a synonym of intersect, right? Intersect, bisect means two of them cutting across, all right? You might want to use the supersede, okay, as well, is a good one. All right, so those are all nice words. Supersede, bisect are definitely higher level vocabulary. So if you're looking for some good lexical resource, these ones are great. Supersede is another way to say surpass, where one exceeds the other. Okay. All right, students. So we got some great vocabulary. We can write some fantastic sentences now. But before we do that, we don't want to just go bullhead first charging into the analysis. Before we do the next paragraph, so before we write the body paragraph, what should we do? So we're going to write the body paragraph here. What should we do before we begin? Okay, the body paragraph is the analyses. Analyses is plural for analysis. And what should we do before we begin our first sentence? And this is very important. You should always have a plan. Have a plan, okay? That means mark your points. Preeti says, mark your points. Absolutely, Preeti. 6 to 8. Maximum, okay? 150 words. You can't mark every point. Mark 6 to 8 points, all right? Which one should we start with? It's a little bit arbitrary. Arbitrary means it doesn't matter all that much. My opinion, I would start with either the Dolphins or the Bears, all right? So I would start with either Dolphins or Bears. I would leave Wales. Okay, Wales fluctuate, so I would leave Wales for the end. The greatest change, the most significant change happens with Bears and with Dolphins. So I would focus on those ones first and then get into Bears. We can start with dolphins. Sure. Baljit says, I love dolphins. 3 little emojis with heart eyes. So, yeah, we all love dolphins. Let's start with dolphins. So, firstly, I would discuss dolphins. This would be my point number 1 or sentence number 1 here. So, dolphins to the point of intersecting bears and whales in the year mid 2018, right? So that would be my first point. Then I would describe this trend here all in one point. So that would be my point number 2. Okay. So first and second point, those are good sentences to start with. Number 3, let's get into bears. All right. For bears, I would probably describe until here. Okay. This would be my third point. I wouldn't stop here and worry about that too much just because we already described this point when we were talking about dolphins. So I would stop at this intersect here for my third point. And then I would do this one here as my fourth point, maybe separate this as a fifth point, see how I get along, how much time I have. I might just do this as a kind of combination or one complex sentence, okay, as my point number 5. And then for my point number 6, okay, and we're going to use all those words. Lamvika says, can we say all 3 points intersect or all 3 animals intersect? Yeah, but we want to use human language. So we can say that the lines intersect around mid 2018, but then we also want to say the population, where their populations will be roughly equal at around 7,000, right? So that's how we'll do that one. Don't just say the lines intersect, but actually record the data, right? So record what that point actually is. All right. Before we get into that detail, let's focus on our point 6, 7. So for point 6, I would mention the fluctuation. We might mention this peak, but I'm probably running out of time and space and word count. I don't need to write 300 words. 200 words is enough. So point 6 to 7 here. Okay. My start and my end point with whales. That's how I would do it. Okay. Yeah, that's right, Begzod. I'm glad we're on the same page. Point 6 is whales. So let's do it. Mia Mux, thank you for the little whale emoji. It's spouting water from his or her blowhole. It's called a blowhole. The little hole at the top of the head of whales and dolphins. All right, so let's do this, ladies and gents. Let's start with this one. Now, I have to erase this, otherwise it will become really messy. But I think you can remember this for the most part. So 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6, and 7. Okay, those are our points. It's not too bad for line graphs if you are careful. Again, remember, don't start with whales. It's the least interesting because the numbers just fluctuate and relatively stay the same. Start with the ones that are either decreasing or increasing. Those are of greatest interest for your audience. Okay, I'm going to erase this. Let's start with this point number 1, going from 2017 until mid 2018. Think about your sentences, students, for this one. Here we are talking about dolphins. Remember your vocabulary, the rapid decline or the sharp decrease in the population. Okay? So start with this point number 1. I'm going to write my sentence, and then I'll take a look at your sentence and see how you did. Okay? Here we go. So, at a closer look, Dolphins had the greatest numbers in 2017, around 15,000. However, their population drastically declined over the next 9 months, at which point it was roughly equal with that of bears and whales, around 7,000. Okay, now if you can't do it in one sentence, don't worry, just do it in 2 sentences. Start a fresh sentence at however, okay? So at a closer look, dolphins had the greatest numbers in 2017, around 15,000. However, their population drastically declined over the next 9 months, at which point it was roughly equal with that of bears and whales, around 7,000. Notice, very importantly, students, we're in the past. So here the data is in the past tense. So I'm using was, okay? It's very, very important, all right? User says at 2017, dolphins' populations sharply declined until the mid 2018 from about 1,500 or 15,000 to 7,000. Sure, yeah. Just don't forget that at that point in middle of 2018, it's roughly equal with that of bears and whales. If you can squeeze that information in there, then you should do so. All right? Now here, I want to write point number 2, which is this. I'm going to do that in a second. I'll just wait for a couple more. All right? Igul says 3 years ago, dolphins were about 15,000. Igul, careful with information mistakes. This is in hundreds. Okay, so 60 times 100 is 6,000. Okay, not 60,000. So careful, Igul. 3 years ago, dolphins were about 15,000. Unfortunately, their numbers drastically dropped. Igul, don't give personal opinion. So don't say words like unfortunately. No personal opinion in task 1, okay? It's just an expository essay. You're just explaining, all right? Okay. I'm going to write the sentence for this, all right? And do the same. So keep writing. I'll keep checking your sentences. So although the rate of decrease slowed at that time, dolphins population of dolphins continued to diminish, and it is expected that by 2022 they will be what? What's the missing word that I'm going to use? That by 2022 they will be. Now notice how I'm switching to future tense because 2022 is the future. What's going to happen in 2022 with dolphins? How should I say that? I shouldn't say 0 because that's just kind of weird. Instead of 0, what will happen to dolphins? Okay, so again, your goal is to translate numbers into human language. Okay, and Laxman Pandey and Aijing Ku have the right word along with Fan and Ravi. They will be extinct, or they are expected to be extinct in the state of California. All right, so that's it for dolphins. No pun intended. All right. Disappear, Aigul, it's okay. Extinct is better, lexical resource. Disappear from California, Tina. Again, yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. All right. It's good points. But extinct is definitely the best lexical resource score that you can get there. All right, so I've described my point number 1 and this point number 2. Very importantly, students, again, when you have this type of a line graph that's past, present, and future, make sure to pay very careful attention to your verb tenses, okay, or using the future participle will, all right? Miamax says, that is spooky. This is just fictitious. This is just made up, ladies and gents, so don't panic. I don't know about the dolphins in California. It's just made up numbers. But anyhow, that describes that. All right, now we go on to bears. Okay, here we go with bears. So bears, 2017 in California, about 1,000, right? My point number 1 is this here. Okay, remember, or sorry, this is my point number 3 at this point. So point number 3 is this. All right, describe that for me. Describe this point number 3. Bagzod says, for the next years, it is anticipated that the population of dolphins will decrease steadily, and in 2022, they are expected to be extinct. Bagzod, just that missing B. Otherwise, beautiful description, beautiful expository writing, Bagzod. Nicely done, okay? Your writing has really, really improved to a high level. Begzod, I have no question in my mind that you would do okay in college or university in Canada or in the US with the level that you've reached in your writing. So good for you, all right? Good for you. Okay, let's see. Bears. Let's switch to bears, ladies and gents. Point number 3. So 2017, this mark here. I know we have a little lag in the video, but let's talk about the bears. Let's talk about the bears. Bears have the lowest number, obviously, in 2017. So let me write myself here, and then while you get yours up, I'll... There. At the start of this timeline, bears have the lowest numbers, around 1,000. Okay? Around 1,000. Yeah. And then that changes. Okay? I'll show you. You can do it in 2 sentences instead of a really complex sentence. I'll just do it in 2. You can, ladies and gents, you can get a high band score even with fairly short sentences as long as you're using good description, good expository writing, okay? Naderbeck says, in the initial stage, the numbers of bears was the lowest of all. However, in the next 2 years, this increases by 6,000. Very good. Okay, that was nice. All right. Harminder says, in 2017, bears population, good use of the apostrophe to show possession, Harminder. Nice, okay. In 2017, bears population was low at around 1,000 and then climbed until present to surpass dolphins and equal bears at around, what is it, 8,000, 7,000, 10,000? Yeah. At around 10,000 in 2019. Good. Okay. So Here we go. Nevertheless, the bear population grew steadily until present, at which point, I just don't want to repeat what I've already said. You want to avoid repetition. And notice how up here I already said which point. A little bit tricky for me, girls and guys, because I'm also teaching and paying attention to what you're writing. But avoid repetition. So if I say at which point, I don't want to say at which point there. I want to find a different way to express that. So nevertheless, the bear population grew steadily until present, reaching roughly 10,000, about the same as whales. Okay, good. Now I'm continuing with this. I have lots of words. So at this point, I'm realizing, okay, I probably have like a good 100, 115 words with the overview. So here's my overview. Here is my analysis so far. That's got to be around 110, 20 words. So I don't really need to split my next point, this one here, into two. Okay. All I might want to say is that the rate of increase grew or is expected to grow into the future. All right. I'm not going to divide this into 2 points because I still have a little bit to go with whales, and I might throw a summary in there. So I don't want to waste time, and I don't want to use valuable time from my task 2, which is worth twice as much, right? So here, just combining this into one, okay? Going forward, this is a nice way to start this sentence off. Going forward, it means this portion here. The number of bears in California are predicted to continue climbing in numbers. Okay. Climbing is kind of a fun verb to use there because bears actually climb. They climb trees, right? Baby bears especially like to climb trees. So it's good. All right. MX, I'm not sure what you're saying, but that's okay. We'll figure that out. All right. Harminder says next, not nextly, Harminder, just next. In the future, the bear population is expected. It's now because we're expecting the future now, not will be expected. Is expected to grow from not 1,000 because that's the past, but from 10,000 to about 18,500. Okay, 19, just over 18,000. So going forward, the number of bears in California are predicted to continue climbing in numbers, reaching over 12,000. But I already used the word reaching here. So instead of reaching, attaining over 18,000 by 2022. All right. So far, so good. Not 181,000, Baljeet. Careful, students. This isn't thousands. This is hundreds. So this is 20,000, not 200,000, okay? If you make information mistakes in academic IELTS, your band score will drop, okay? Avoid information mistakes. Shouldn't be too complex. Just pay careful attention. All right. So now we have Wales to go, okay? Wales, I want to keep it fairly simple, starting from here, going on to here. It's one long point, all right? If I'm a Band 9 student and I'm writing very fast, I might talk about the peak here in 2019, but it's somewhat arbitrary, okay? So again, don't take time from your task number 2, all right? Don't take time from task number 2. Okay, so we'll write bears here, our last point, in just a second. But ECOB says, for bears, it shows rapid increase from 2017. It was about 1,000, equals Wales just 2 years later, around 10,000. Rising, the bear population is expected to continue rising and surpass 18,000 by 2022. ECUB, careful with your word order and your grammar. Okay, your ideas are good, but your grammar and syntax are off, so you'll lose some marks. Preeti says, the bear population in 2017 was very low, almost 1,000, and in the next 2 years, it reached tenfold. Not will reach, Preeti, it reached, because we are currently in 2019. Okay, this is current time. So careful with your tenses, Preeti. You will drop your marks for that, okay? So you got to be careful. All right, here we go with bears, all right? Conversely, to dolphins and bears. Whales numbered, using number as a verb here, numbered around 8,000 in 2017. So we're talking about this here. Okay. And their population fluctuates throughout the given timeline. Okay, timeline's a nice word to know because then you can basically summarize this entire fluctuation here. So their entire timeline, and then here at the end, they're just under 8,000, all right? Throughout the entire, throughout the given timeline. If you want, you can write this, in 2022, their population is predicted to be just under 8,000. All right, so that's great. That works. Now, if you want, you can include a summary. So if you're pushing for a Band 9, you can do a summary. The summary should not be a repeat of the overview. It should be unique. And it should be something that's quickly observable. Again, right? So some of you for the introduction said, well, there's an increase of bears, there's a decrease of dolphins, and there's simply a fluctuation of whales. So that makes for a good summary, okay? So in summary, this is a 5-year period, okay? So let me just throw up my summary, and hopefully you're thinking of the same. So in summary, over the course of this half decade, dolphins will diminish, or dolphins diminish, bears multiply, and whales stay constant. Perhaps perhaps bears eat dolphins, so that's the reason for the change. Right? We have lots more bears than dolphins. Maybe the bears are eating the dolphins. No, students, that's just a joke, okay? First of all, bears do not eat dolphins, not as far as I know. And secondly, you should not include personal opinion or assumption in the summary. So there is no room for assumptions and guesses in the summary, so we're not going to write that in there. The IELTS examiners will not find that funny. You'll lose a mark. So bears do not eat dolphins. That's not the reason for the change. Don't panic. That is the summary. Okay, students, let's read this. Have a quick peek at the graph here. Okay, that's what it looks like. Looks good. All right. Just a joke. That's right, Bagzod. It's not for real. Thank goodness. Here we go. Overview. This line graph illustrates the previous, current, and future populations of three kinds of mammals, bears, dolphins, and whales in the state of California. The x-axis indicates the years from 2017 to 2022, as where the y-axis indicates the number of animals from 0 to 20,000, with intervals of 2,000. At first glance, it is quite evident that the population change among these three animals is significantly different in the years given. At a closer look, dolphins had the greatest numbers in 2017, around 15,000. However, their population drastically declined over the next 9 months, at which point it was roughly equal with that of bears and whales, around 7,000. Although the rate of decrease slowed at that time, population of dolphins continued to diminish, and it is expected that by 2022 they will be extinct in California. At the start of the timeline, bears have the lowest numbers, around 1,000. Nevertheless, the bear population grew steadily until present, reaching roughly 10,000, about the same as whales. Going forward, the number of bears in California are predicted to continue climbing in numbers, attaining over 18,000 by 2022. Conversely to dolphins and bears, whales numbered around 8,000 in 2017, and their population fluctuates throughout the given timeline. In 2022, their population is predicted to be just under 8,000. In summary, over the course of this half decades, dolphins diminish, bears multiply, and whales stay constant. Okay? Baljit says, sir, you're wrong according to the given information. What am I wrong about, Baljit? Do enlighten me, and I will correct it. Students, that's all the time I've had for today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to practice. Remember this vocabulary. This video will be up for a while, so you can come back and check this useful, valuable vocabulary at a later time. That's it for me for today. Again, join us on our websites for General IELTS. It's this green background. Click that big red button, sign up, get the full course. Lots of videos there. For Academic IELTS, it's the blue background like this. And you can click that big red button there to join right over there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned some good quality information that you can use on your exam. I know many of you have exams coming up this weekend. Bye, Aigul. Great participation. Thank you, members, for your support. It's valuable for us, and it allows us to make these classes available to students around the world. So thank you for your support, members. Keep up the good work. Begzod Bay, you're doing great. You're welcome. Noderbek, Vazitov, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. Much love from Budapest.